We don't wait for that. So let the devotee join according to their own timing. Because once you book your plane ticket, when it times to board, you have to board. I was reading somewhere. Anyway, this is nothing to do with spiritual activities, but I found it interesting. It is said that people who always late, their life is much more happier than those who are punctual. For example, in a meeting or whatever it is, so if a person late, they will just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late," but actually they don't really feel sorry, and they don't have any tension in their mind, so their life is always happy. But for those who are punctual all the time, they have so much stress in their mind that I have to make it, I have to make it. But in Krishna consciousness, of course, everything should be pakam, like when we are doing the pujari service, 7 o'clock you're supposed to open the curtain of the altar. 7 o'clock means 7 o'clock exactly, not 1 minute before, not 1 minute after. Anyway, I'm just saying it. So we will start with the Mangala Charan prayers to invoke the auspiciousness and get the blessings of all the acharyas, and then to ultimately Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyaham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabhandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namoste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ukam karoti vachalam pangam hayate girim yad kripa tamham bande Shri Gurun Dinatharana. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees present here today for the English Bhakti Shastri class. So today finally we will start discussing the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter. Yeah. So the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So many acharyas commenting that actually the Bhagavad Gita ended in the 17th chapter. Yeah. And the 18th chapter is just kind of rounding up, So we are closing the section. Yeah. So in the 17th chapter, anybody still remember what we have discussed in the 17th chapter, just to refresh our mind again? Or at least toward the end of the 17th chapter, what was discussed? Anybody would like to share?
I think
Yes.
The 17th chapter was the Shraddha-traya Vibhaga Yoga, and how the three gunas, for those who don't have faith in either the Supreme Lord, or who are also not on the other extreme of being an atheist, but they have some faith developed based on their own idea of faith. Krishna talks in detail about how faith influences their worship, the charity, the penances, the sacrifices, the work that they do, the duties that they perform, etc. And then, if I'm not mistaken, he concludes by saying, at the end of the day, I think in 26 or 27, 26, 27, the Lord concludes by saying that anything that is performed without faith, it's of no use either in this life or in the next life. Without faith
Thank you.
in Him. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Navadip Sachimataji. Yes, very nice. So yes, about the divine and demoniac nature. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What was that? The division of the faith. Sorry, the division of the faith. Because so many letter D, sometimes confuse me. So the division of the faith. Yes, that's true. Like everything is also influenced by the three modes: charity in the three modes, and then sacrifice in the three modes, austerities in the three modes. And then Krishna concluded that all the activities should be performed for the satisfaction of the Om Tat Sat. So that Om Tat Sat is actually indicates Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So that's the conclusion. All the activities should be connected to Krishna. Yeah, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. So that's the perfection of our life. That's the perfection of all the activities. Although seemingly it may look like material activities, but if that connected to Krishna, so that becomes Krishna eyes. Yeah. So having said that, because everything should be connected to Krishna, that means we have to uh, renounce everything for the pleasure of the Lord. So now this chapter, chapter 18, begins with Arjuna's question. Arjuna is asking here in the first verse, asking Krishna, what is the difference between sannyas and tyaga? Yeah. So Arjuna is still a bit confused. So what is sannyas? What is tyaga? But we will see more elaborate description on what is sannyas and what is tyaga. So very nice. Oops. I need your permission, Mataji, to share my screen.
Sorry, Prabhu, you're not able to share your screen?
No.
Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter entitled Conclusion, Perfection of Renunciation. So Krishna explains the meaning of renunciation and the effects of the modes of nature of human consciousness and activity. He explains Brahman realization, the glories of Bhagavad Gita, and the ultimate conclusion of the Gita. The highest path of religion is absolute, unconditional, loving surrender unto Lord Krishna, which frees one from all sins, brings one to complete enlightenment, and enables one to return to Krishna's eternal spiritual abode. So the entire Bhagavad Gita is concluded in 17 chapters. And to emphasize the goal of surrender to Krishna, the essence of the previous chapters is taught in this, the final chapter. Here Krishna concludes, as he has done throughout the Bhagavad Gita, that one should practice devotional service. So topic of discussion in 18th chapter, this is in brief, yeah. From text 1 to 12, Karma Yoga, superiority of working in devotion over renunciation of work. And then Jnana Yoga. So in this part, we will be talking about uh, the 5 types of doer, yeah, the 5 types of, the 5 factors of action, yeah, in this section. And then the modes of nature from 19 to 40. And then worshipping Krishna through one's work. So this is 41 to 48. This is related to the following the aspect of varnashram. Yeah, starting from here, following the aspect of varnashram is actually being discussed, both from this section 19 to 40 and up to the beginning of this discussion. And then from Dhyana Yoga to pure devotional service, 49 to 55. Here we'll be talking about the Brahmabhuta platform, the famous verse Brahmabhuta Prashana, and then surrender to Krishna. So this is talking about pure devotional service. And then the last section is Arjuna agrees to fight, and victory is assured by Sanjaya. So this is the synopsis of the chapter. Yeah. So when Krishna says Sarvadharman Parityaja, and then asking Krishna to act, so Krishna says that Karishe Vachanam Tavam, that means yes, now I'm ready to do whatever you order. Yeah. So the difference between Arjuna's surrenders here and then when he surrendered in the second chapter. Yeah, remember in the second chapter, Arjuna says, Sishyasiham sadimam tvam prapanam. I'm Sishyasiham, make me your disciple. I'm a surrendered soul. Yeah. Sadimam tvam prapanam. I'm surrendering my soul to you. But after a few verses, we see that Arjuna said that Nayotya eti Govinda. Govinda, I don't want to fight. That means his surrender is not fully surrender because he still have so many doubts in his mind. So surrender means you don't doubt the person to whom you surrender. So, but here in the 18th chapter, Arjuna said, Karishiva Chanam Tava. Yes, sir, I will do. Yeah, I will do according to your instruction. So that's fully surrender. And in the last section of the Bhagavad Gita, in the last section of this chapter, we will see how Krishna is glorifying the study and also the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. So not only we are studying, but also we have to teach Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Nachatas man manusyeshu karchin me priya pratam. Those who share the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is very, very dear. And then we will see Arjuna's realization and ultimately Sanjaya's realization. Yeah. So that is the synopsis of the chapter. Of course, many things that we will discuss in this chapter kind of repetition from what we have heard, what we have discussed previously. Because like karma, we already discussed this throughout uh, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. And then Jnana also is discussed, especially in the chapter 7 and 9. Yeah. 7 and 9 discussing about Jnana. And then we will talk about the aspect of Varnashram a little bit. That's why in this chapter, that verse Sriyanso Dharma Viguna Paradharma Svanusita is repeated again by Krishna. That verse is already mentioned in the 3rd chapter. Yeah. The importance of following one's prescribed duty. Yeah. Of course, ultimately for the satisfaction of the Lord. Because as devotees, we're not simply talking or following about Varnashram, but we are following the aspect of Daivi Varnashram, which is divine. Yeah. And we talk about the Brahmabhuta platform. Everybody is familiar with that. Yeah, in the middle section of the chapter. So, okay. We will see Arjuna's question on the first verse. Somehow internet is a bit slow today. Okay. Text number 1. Arjuna said, "O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and the renowned order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Kasi demon, master of the senses." Yeah, Srila Prabhupada explained. As in the second chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter, also the summary of all instruction is given. Purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above the three material modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the two distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, namely renunciation, tyaga, and the renowned order of life, sannyas. Thus, he is asking the meaning of these two words. The two words used in this verse to address the Supreme Lord, Rishikesh and Keshi Nishudana, are significant. Rishikesha is Krishna, the master of all senses, who can always help us attain mental serenity. Arjuna requests him to summarize everything in such a way that he can remain equipoised. Yet he has some doubts, and doubts are always compared to demons. He therefore addressed Krishna as Keshi Nisudana. Keshi was a most formidable demon who was killed by the Lord. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt. So Arjuna is asking here, what is Tyaga and what is Sannyas? So immediately Krishna will answer in the next verse about what is Tyaga, what is Sannyas. And Arjuna is addressing Krishna here as Rishikesha and Keshinisudana. So Rishikesha, it's actually the same thing we found in the first chapter. Yeah, in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna was addressed by Arjuna by different names. Even like when he addressed Krishna as Govinda. So Arjuna is indicating that you are Govinda, you're supposed to please my senses, but why you are asking me to fight, in which actually my senses will not be happy. That's one example. Yeah, Hrishikesh here, the master of the senses. So you know better what's going on to me. Yeah, because he has doubt. So demon the doubt is compared to the demon. Yeah, Keshi. Yeah, Keshi is the demon. Yeah, so Keshi Nisudana. Kesava. Krishna is addressing, Arjuna is addressing Krishna here as Kesava. Means kill the demon of my doubt. Like how you kill the demon Keshi in Vrindavan. Yeah. And this is how actually great personalities talk, you know. You may find it poetic, you may find it like kind of jugglery, but it's actually an art of speaking. Even Krishna will address Arjuna here as tiger among men. You know, if we see amongst these five Pandavas, who is supposed to be the tiger? In my opinion, Bhim should be the tiger. But here, Arjuna was addressed. Later, we'll see Arjuna was addressed by Krishna as tiger among men. Of course, Arjuna possessed physical strength, but the Acharya is also commenting that not only he has physical strength, but just like a tiger, is not very easily to be conquered by the animals in the jungle. Because tiger is big, and very strong. So Arjuna, when he was addressed as tiger among men by Krishna, Krishna is actually slightly joking with Arjuna, because Krishna is thinking, how can you, a very intelligent person, can be overcome by doubt? How can Arjuna, is a pure devotee, very close friend of Krishna, can be overcome by this kind of doubt? So Krishna is smiling and actually makes joke, makes fun of him. That's why he addressed Arjuna as tiger among men. You are very strong, you are very powerful, and also you are very intelligent, very elevated personality. How can this doubt overcome you? Anyway, that's interesting part of this discussion. Yeah. Okay. So Krishna replied, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, or sannyas. And giving up the result of activities is what the wise call renunciation, or tyaga. Srila Prabhupada said, performance of activities for results has to be given up. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. But activities leading to advanced spiritual knowledge are not to be given up. This will be made clear in the next verses. So, seeing the answer of Krishna, are sannyas and tyaga the same or different? Yeah. So this is a question for all of us here. The way how Krishna answered is, sannyas means to give up activities which based on material desire, and then tyaga means to giving up the result of our activities. So is there any difference between the two, or both are the same? Any answer to this?
Big difference between the two.
Can you elaborate a bit more?
In one case, it's a sacrifice of self for the purpose of for the service of society. In the other case, it's a sacrifice of self for the pleasure of the Lord.
So which one is higher between sannyas and tyaga?
As for the Lord, it's tyaga is superior.
Okay. Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Most appreciated. Yeah. So according to Mataji nowadays, Sachi Mataji, so tyaga is better than sannyas. Yeah, because the way how Krishna expressed here also seems to be like that. Yeah, sannyas means you give up activities based on material desire. Therefore, there is an injunction in the scripture that a sannyas should not cook. Yeah, because it's kind of material activities dealing with the body. So sannyas should not cook. He should eat whatever is available, destined for him, and he should be always satisfied. You know, so sannyas should not cook. But we see Srila Prabhupada cook in the beginning, of course. In the beginning, Srila Prabhupada cooked. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada's reasoning was, well, I'm not cooking for myself. I'm cooking for Krishna. So Sanya is not supposed to cook for himself. That's one instance. Yeah. Whereas Tyaga means to still performing our activities, nitya karma, including the material activities, but the result is offered to Krishna, meaning we are not attached with the result. Yeah. Therefore, this part is dealing with the karma yoga. Yeah. Karma nivadikara se ma phalesu karachana. Just perform our activities and the results are rendered to Krishna. Meanwhile, that analysis could be true, but Srila Prabhupada, whenever he translate sannyas or tyaga, he translated in the same way, renunciation. Yeah. So I advise all of us here, right, to read the Surrender Unto Me by Burijan Prabhu. That's a very wonderful book, because the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and also Baladev Vidyabhushana most of the time included there. And also, if you want to learn the Bhagavad Gita in the most effective way, I suggest to get the book of what is his name? Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. Yeah, Gita Subodhini. That's a very nice book, Gita Subodhini, because he breaks up uh, the verses and then the purport of Srila Prabhupada in such a way that makes us easier to understand it. It is not the instead of Bhagavad Gita as it is, but you can get this book as an additional thing. Yeah. So I recommend these two other books. Yeah, Surrender Unto Me and Bhagavad Gita Subodhini by His Grace Gauranga Darshan. Yeah, very nice book. So um, thank you so much, Mataji, for your opinion. But we'll see later that actually Srila Prabhupada explained the same thing. Sannyas and Tyaga, actually there's no difference. Yeah, because the purpose of sannyas life is to give up the activities based on material desire for higher purpose, for spiritual advancement. And Tyaga also like that. One may remain in Grihastha ashram, but if one's act just like a sannyas, meaning renouncing everything for the pleasure of the Lord, so actually there's no difference. In fact, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that if a grihastha performing four activities, namely chanting together with the family members, worshipping the deities, taking prasada, and discussing the topic of Krishna Katha. Yeah? If the grihasthas perform these four things, there is no need for him to become a sannyas. There is no need to take vanaprastha because that house is as good as Vaikuntha, Srila Prabhupada said. So ultimately there is no difference, because both are aiming toward the same goal, which is we are renouncing the material activities for the pleasure of the Lord. Even in the Tyaga aspect also, even when one performs material activities seemingly, but when the result is offered to Krishna, that's no longer material. So that's the understanding. But Mataji, your opinion is most appreciated. Text number 3. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should be never abandoned. There are many activities in the Vedic literature which are subjects of contention. For instance, it is said that an animal can be killed and sacrificed. Yet some maintain that animal killing is completely abominable. Although animal killing in the sacrifice is recommended in the Vedic literature, the animal is not considered to be killed. Yeah. So there are many different kind of contradictions. Yeah. Even in the Vedas also. Uh, just like here, one instance, Srila Prabhupada mentioned animal killing is okay in the fire sacrifice, but in general, the aspect of animal killing is abominable. That's how Lord Buddha appeared, yeah, to stop the animal killing. But at the same time, it is Vedic injunction. But of course, in Kali Yuga, it is no longer uh, advised to perform the animal sacrifice. Yeah. So because there is no qualified brahmana. Yeah. In the previous yuga, if someone perform the animal sacrificial, that animal is okay. In the beginning, it's killed, and then after the sacrifice, the brahmana will revive again the animal, so that animal doesn't lose its life. Or even more qualified brahmana can sacrifice the animal, and then the animal immediately uplifted to the heavenly planet, getting the body of a demigod's 4 arms like this. But we don't have qualified brahmana in Kali Yuga. Yeah. Even while invoking the Agni, so the brahmana in the previous yuga, by chanting the mantra, so Agni would appear. Yeah. But here we are using matches. Yeah. I have witnessed one initiation yajna. Maybe I have told you or not yet. Anyway, I want to tell you again. So one of the initiation yajna that I witnessed. So the kunda yajna is very small. The kunda yajna is very small. So the fire is also small. And then somehow or other, at one point, the hotri, the priest, pouring so much ghee into the fire, and the fire just went off. And then the priest starts searching, where's the matches? Where is the matches? So to light up the fire again. So this is one of the instances in which actually in Kali Yuga hardly we find very qualified brahmana. Yeah. Therefore, the animal sacrifice is actually no longer recommended. Yeah. Text number 4. O bears of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. Here, Krishna mentioned, O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of 3 kinds. So now Krishna will explain about renunciation according to 3 modes. Yeah. Although there are differences of opinion about renunciation, here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, gives his judgment. It should be taken as final. After all, the Vedas are different laws given by the Lord. Here the Lord is personally present and his word should be taken as final. Okay. Text number 5. Yagyadana tapah karma na tyajam karyam eva tat. Yagyodanam tapaschaiva pavanani manis. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. There are many purificatory processes for advancing a human being to spiritual life. The marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivaha Yagya. So the sannyasi who is in the renowned order of life and who has given up his family relationship encourage the marriage ceremony. The Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yagya should be encouraged even by persons in the renowned sort of life. Sannyasis should never associate with women, but that does not mean that one who is in the lower stages of life, a young man, should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. So these are a few things that should be never given up, yeah, because this is purifying. Like charity is also purifying. Charity purify our wealth, yeah, especially for the grihastha. This is one of the main duties of the grihastha is to do charity, dana. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada is talking about the Vivahayagya here. Because in his case, being a sannyasi, actually a sannyas and a brahmachari, not supposed to attend the Vivaha ceremony. Yeah. If I don't know, I don't think so any brahmachari here in our group. But that's the principle. Yeah. A sannyas or a brahmachari should never attend the Vivahayagya. The moment you attend the Vivahayagya, that's very dangerous. Yeah, for the brahmachari and also for the sannyas. Yeah. But Srila Prabhupada, of course, he himself performed the Vivaha yagya for his own disciples in the beginning, because like for instance, like Mukunda and Janaki, Prabhupada's disciple, Mukunda Maharaj, before he became a Swami. So Mukunda and Janaki, they were just couple living together without marriage. And then when they are asking for initiation, Srila Prabhupada said, I will perform your marriage first, then I'll give you initiation. And then there are a couple of devotees, few couples of devotees getting married at the same time, on the same fire yagya. And Srila Prabhupada did the yagya. First, they get married, and then Prabhupada give them the initiation. Otherwise, there is no point of giving the vow, because you stay in a relationship without marriage. So that's considered to be animalistic. So Srila Prabhupada performed the Vivaha ceremony, of course, because seeing the circumstances also, there's a Kalapatra, place, time, and circumstances. Nobody can perform that other than Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada did that. And then why he did this? The purpose is that to elevate one's consciousness, to elevate one's position to the higher level. Yeah, so nothing wrong with that. But of course, the general principle is that a sannyas should not attend the Vivaha ceremony. Yeah. Maybe a sannyas can come after the ceremony finish and just to give the blessings for the couples. Yeah. But in general, a sannyas should not come, especially strictly for the brahmachari, because there's no business for a brahmachari to attend the Vivaha ceremony, Yeah. And then sannyas also should be very, very strict in dealing with women. Same thing as brahmachari also. Should be very, very strict. Few aspect of performing yagya and puja just crossed my mind. This is interesting for all of us here. Uh, while performing puja or performing yagya, it is recommended for a grihastha, for a grihastha should not sit on the kusha vyasasan, kusha asana directly for the grihastha. Yeah, maybe you have heard this, especially for women, you should not sit on the kusha asana. And then for the grihastha, those who are willing to beget children, so you should not sit directly on the kusha asana, because the kusha asana is actually bring up our level to the spiritual platform, because kusha is the hair of Lord Varaha. Yeah, the hair of Lord Varaha. So if a man sit on the kusha asana, so there is this term called urdhva pundra, yeah, that brings up the semen to the brain. Therefore, the grihastha is not recommended to sit directly on the kusha asana. You can sit on the kusha asana, but you cover it with cloth. Yeah, because kusha asana brings your semen up to your brain. Yeah, difficult for you to get a child. But if you have enough children, so you can do it. This is just a general principle, just additional information. Yeah. Anyway, so that's about yagya and puja also, And yeah, puja cannot be done without asana. So we should stand or sit on the asana while performing arati or puja. Yeah. So come back to the topic, sacrifice. Yeah. Main purpose of sacrifice, yagya, is for our own elevation, purification, and that should never be given up. Yeah, should never be given up. Charity also. Yeah, penance, austerities. Yeah. Even Krishna mentioned here, this is purifying even the great souls. We see how the pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, many great personalities, they give so much charity. Take for example like Nanda Maharaj or Vasudeva. They are great personalities, still they give charity. when Krishna was born. So Nanda Maharaj was giving so much charities to the Brahmanas and cow, giving charities, a lot of cows to the Brahmana. And Vasudeva, because he was in the jail, so he was mentally performing it. But when, as soon as he came out from the jail, and then Krishna was present in Mathura, so he conducted really big festival and giving so much charities to the Brahmanas in the form of cows. Yeah, it is described that millions of cows was given in the charity. And have you heard the story of King, what was who became the lizard in his next life?
Noga. Noga Prabhu.
Who's that?
Noga. NRGA.
Nriga.
Noga.
Yeah, King Riga. Yeah, King Riga. So he was very famous, because he always gives charity, so much charity to the Brahmins. Yeah. So one time he performed yajna, and then he gave charity to thousands of Brahmanas, and each Brahmana gets 10 cows. The Brahmanas get 10 cows, and then by chance, so one cow, because in the field, in the field the cows are mixing, and then by chance one cow belonged to one Brahmana. What happened was, at that time, one of the cows belonged to one Brahmana who which actually already given to that Brahmana return to the kingdom of King Riga. And then this Brahmana was complaining, "Hey, Raja, king, you took back my cow. What kind of action is this?" So it is described that if you steal the property of a Brahmana, you will go to hell. If you steal the property of a Brahmana, you will go to hell. And although that was by chance, that cow returned by herself to King Riga, and then of course King Riga did not realize, because so many cows were there. And then King Riga tried to apologize to this Brahmana, but this Brahmana already became so upset. Yeah. And then King Riga said, "Okay, don't worry, I will give you 1,000 of cows instead of this one particular cow." And this Brahmana said, no, that cannot be done like this. I curse you to become a lizard in your next life. And he has to suffer. Of course, he has to suffer. And of course, we find later the pastime that when Samba was wandering in the forest, so he found a well, and then in that well there was this lizard who was King Riga before, and he saved this lizard. So of course, by Krishna came and touches the lizard, and then he assumed his original form as King Riga. Yeah. So that's the principles of charity. Something that you have give up, you cannot take back. And something which is not belong to you, you should not take also, especially if that belong to the Brahmana. If that's belong to the Brahmana, your life is finished. Sometimes we see in the Yajna Kunda, when our devotees performing sacrifice, the Yajna. So whatever in the Kunda, whatever it is, flower, and sometimes we decorate the Kunda with the fruits, right? That fruits actually belong to the Brahmana who perform the Yajna, belong to the hot tree. But sometimes as soon as the Yajna is over, and some devotees just snatch some fruit here and there, considering that as Mahaprasadam. It is true Mahaprasadam, but that belong to the Brahmana who performed that Yajna. So without the Brahmana's permission, you should not snatch whatever fruits there, because that's completely the right of that Brahmana. Yeah. Sometimes we are ignorant or innocent, whatever you call it. You just snatch the fruit, Therefore, I used to tell the devotees, don't take it. That's not belong to you. You ask the permission of the priest first before you're taking it. because we are so eager to get the Mahaprasadam, oh, such a yagya, I have to get fruit, at least one, and you just grab it. That's not the culture. Yeah. So your life is finished. Okay, there's a question here. From Mathurapati. If anyone steals from our ISKCON initiated devotees, will he go to hell? Yes, of course. And the principle of stealing is always bringing you to the hell. What to speak of initiated devotees? Yeah, even stealing in general to a non-devotees, that gives you sin. You should responsible for that action. Yeah. Again, if devotees argue, oh, what about if we steal for Krishna? Because we follow the parampara, Krishna is a thief. So anyway, we should not imitate that. We should not imitate. Of course, one time when Srila Prabhupada explained that, yes, everything should be dedicated for Krishna. And then one of his disciples asked Srila Prabhupada, can we go to a bank and rob the bank and then build the temple using that money? Prabhupada said, no, you cannot do this. According to Manu Samhita, if you steal, you will be punished. There is certain hell where you will go. Of course, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, toward the end of the fifth chapter, fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described different types of hells. Of course, there are a few hells are being described. I think there are 28, but actually there are unlimited hells. Each sins, you have to be responsible for that. If you are stealing, so your hands will be chopped off in hell. That's the rule. Yeah, and what to speak of stealing the devotee's property, stealing ISKCON's property, and Krishna's property. Yeah, definitely. So these are actions that should never be given up. Giving charity, especially for us, the Grihastha, performing sacrifice, especially the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, they perform sacrifice every day. Yeah. Therefore, it is described that a married Brahmana never have fire up in his house. So because the Brahmana perform the yagya every single day, so there is a tradition that in that yagya kunda, so after the yagya finish, you put some pile of the rice husk, so the fire keep on. And then when the wife of the Brahmana wants to cook, so the fire is taken from that yagya kunda and then cook. And then the Brahmana will perform again the sacrifice, the yagya, the daily yagya. But of course, none of us can perform that on the daily basis, especially in the Kali Yuga. Very difficult. Yeah. But all these kind of samskaras, yagyas that we perform, being grihastas, that meant for our purification. Yeah. Starting from the marriage, marriage ceremony, and then garbhadhana samskara, and different samskaras like simantoyana, this and that. Another in the chat section here. Anything happened to the Brahmana who cursed to King? Anything happened to that Brahmana who cursed King Riga? The Srimad Bhagavatam did not elaborate what happened to that Brahmana. So I don't want to speculate. But here's the thing, the power of a Brahmana is on his words. Is on his words. Once you give blessings, that will become true. May you become rich, like this. If a Brahmana say that, you will become rich. Or if I curse you, you will damage, So the Brahmana's power is in his word. The Brahmana maintains truthfulness Yeah, that's how one becomes strong in speaking truthfulness. And then Swadhyaya also, studying the Vedas. For example, if you are a Brahmana, you are a priest. So somebody asks you to perform yajna, and then you promise, yes, I will do it. And then on the same day, another person who is richer than the person who invites you for the first time, and then asking you to go to his house to perform yajna, and with the promise that I'll give you good amount of donation, Prabhu, please perform yajna for me. And then if you cancel the first person whom you promised, then your adhikar is finished. Adhikar means your right. Your right of being a Brahmana is finished. And then your word will not have any effect anymore because you already untruthful with your words. Once you give your promise, that's it. Living in the hell or heaven, you have to follow that promise. Yeah? So the word of a Brahmana is so powerful. Yeah? So what happened to that Brahmana, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Yeah, I don't want to speculate. So you may have to do some more research for this. Yeah, what happened to the Brahmana who cursed King Riga? But the principle is that, yeah, if a Brahmana is happy, Vaishnava Brahmana especially happy, you get all the blessings. Life is perfect. But if you make them upset, you may get cursed. But of course, again, the curse of elevated personality is as good as blessings. Yeah. What happened to King Riga? He gets the direct touch of the Lord. Yeah. Narada cursed Manigriva and Nalakwara. Their life is perfected toward the end. So if a Brahmana curse you, no problem. Take that as a blessing because there must be something good happen at the end of your pastime, at the end of your lila. You know, when even when Narada was being cursed by Daksha, also because Narada was, Daksha tried to do the procreation, and then first he created 10,000 sons, and then Narad Muni came, and then while they're performing the sacrifice, Narad Muni came and then told the 10,000 sons of Daksha, he preached about the life, about the Grihastha ashram, how it's like a dark well, will give you entanglement, and all these 10,000 sons of Daksha became sannyas. Daksha asked them, now you perform austerity, be a good brahmachari, and then you get married. Because a good brahmachari will become a good grihastha. Either you want to remain Naisiki brahmachari or you have planned to get married in the future, the training is the same. The brahmachari training is the same. Therefore, if you get, there is a difference between devotees who has lived in the ashram for many years and then get married, or never tasted the brahmachari ashram's life. So good brahmachari training will produce good grihastha ashram. Therefore, Daksha asked his sons to perform austerities before getting married. But Narad Muni came and then preached them about how grihastha ashram is, and then they became sannyas. And then Daksha said, all right. And then he created another 1,000. And then Narad Muni came, good brothers will follow the elder brothers' footsteps. And then 1,000 sons of Daksha also became sannyas. So now, how many is that? 10 plus 1, 11,000. And then Daksha became so upset. And then he cursed Narad Muni. I curse you, may you never have permanent place to stay. And Narad Muni said, my dear Brahmana, my dear Daksha, I accept your curse as a blessing. Therefore, Narad Muni never stayed in one place, he kept traveling. He's poor, he keeps traveling. So yeah. And then King Riga would have done some service to the Lord. King Riga was a devotee. Yeah. Of course, he loves to perform kind of karma kanda activities, but he's also a devotee of the Lord. Yeah. So he served the Lord. He knows the principles. But of course, he is not 100% pure devotee. He's not 100% pure devotee. But why his name is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, his uh, pastime is slightly briefly described in the Bhagavatam, because his act is so wonderful. His act is so wonderful. Who can give charities to the brahmanas like how King Riga is so charitable? Yeah. So King Riga is one of the most charitable person mentioned in the pages of the Bhagavatam. So anyway, we are running a bit slow here. Too much pastimes. You see, this is the nature of Krishna Katha. You know, once you enter one pastime, another pastimes appear in your mind. So when is the target of this course should be ended? Nowadays, Sachi Mataji, by the end of December?
Yes, Prabhu, by end of December. Earlier, if
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. We'll finish this in the next class, I think. Whatever happened today, let it happen. And then in the next class, we'll finish it off. Don't worry. I apologize. This is my nature. Sometimes I become too loose, and I just roaming around here and there. But honestly, this is one of my enjoyment. This is one of my enjoyment. Sometimes while giving Bhagavatam class, also like that. And then I realized, oh, I went off the topic. I went off the topic. And then I try to come back again. And if you see also Prabhupada's pastimes, most of the time Prabhupada did like this. He read a verse and then he just go round and round, and toward the end he just okay. So this is the verse, this is the conclusion. Anyway, this pastime that I share still related to the sacrifice, charity. So bear with me with this. Okay. This is a quote from Srila Prabhupada's lecture. The Grihastha cannot accept charity. Oh, but a Grihastha Brahmana, he can accept charity, but he will not, I mean to say, accumulate money by taking charity. Whatever he gets, he must spend them. Dana pratigraha. Pratigraha means accept, but he cannot keep in a bank balance. He must, whatever extra he has got, he must immediately give in charity. Then he can accept a Grihastha Brahmana, accept charity. So as all of us know that there are 6 activities of Brahmana. Yeah. Patan, yajan, dana, pratigraha. So studying, teaching, worshipping the deities, perform yajna, sacrifice, accepting charity, and giving charity. This is the 6 activities of Brahmana. Yeah. And a Grihastha should not accept charity. But if he is a Grihastha Brahmana, he can accept charity, but he should never, this is the principle of Brahmana's life, he should never keep something for the next day. Whatever he earned from begging or bhiksha, it should be finished on the same day. And he should not accumulate. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, he should not keep in the bank. A Brahmana means you don't have bank account. Therefore, I don't have bank account, but my wife does. So that's how I cheat. If somebody asks, Prabhu, please send me your bank detail. I said, Prabhu, I don't have bank account. I'm sorry. Then he asked again, then how I send you Lakshmi or donation? I said, you send to my wife's bank account. Anyway, yeah, a Brahmana should not accumulate more than necessary. Brahmana should be simple. Yeah. Therefore, Brahmana means who always satisfied and always be ready in the service of Lord. So therefore, we find a Brahmana is always wearing kopin, dhoti, and uttariya. That's it. No stitched cloth for the Brahmana. Yeah. So Brahmana means he always ready for the service of God. Therefore, while worshipping the deities, we don't wear stitched cloth. Yeah. We don't wear stitched cloth. I meant to say for the Prabhus, yeah, for the Brahmana who's performing the puja. So that's the principles of Brahmana's life. Yeah, he should not accumulate more than necessary. Yeah. Text number 6. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. O son of Pritha, that is my final opinion. Although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any result by such performances. In other words, all sacrifices, which are meant for material advancement in life, should be given up, but sacrifices that purify one's existence and elevate one to the spiritual plane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also it is said that any activity which leads to devotional service to the Lord should be accepted. Yeah. So again, still about sacrifice. In the Karma Kanda section, for the Karma Kandis, they perform sacrifice simply by saying Swaha. Every time they pour the ghee to the water, they just chant the Swaha. They chant some certain mantra and then they chant Swaha. Because Swaha is the Agni has 3 wives actually. Swaha and I forgot the second one's name. And then the third one is Namaha. Yeah. Swaha is the foremost wife of Agni. So therefore we chant Swaha every time. But in the Karma Kanda, for the Karma Kandis, they always chant Swaha, Swaha. But in our tradition, as the Gaudiya Vaishnava, as devotees, we chant Idam Krishnaya, Idam Namama Swaha. That means Idam Krishnaya. This is for the pleasure of Krishna. Idam Namama. This is not for me. The benefit is for Krishna. It's not for me. And then we say Swaha. So it's for Krishna. Because even if we perform something, if we perform sacrifice with the expectation we get something, but as devotees, first business is to please Krishna. Because we know the principle, if Krishna is pleased, he will bestow his mercy to me and I also will get what I want. Yeah. So therefore we chant Idam Krishnaya, Idam Namama. Idam Namama. This is not for me. Yeah. So that's the principle. So in the next 6 verses, 7 to 12, Krishna will define Tyaga, renunciation, according to the 3 modes of nature. Yeah. Text number 7, prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, it is said that a person in the renouncer of life should not cook for himself. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for Supreme Lord, for the Supreme Lord, is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyas may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciples in advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. So there are 2 angles here, how we judge the situation. Yeah. If nobody is cooked, if you are sannyas, in Srila Prabhupada case, if nobody cooks for you, because we see when Srila Prabhupada just arrived in Boston, so he stayed in the house of Gopal Agarwal. Yeah. So the husband of Shali Agarwal. So there, Srila Prabhupada cooked for himself. Even he's using the same fridge. Prabhupada said he's using the same fridge where Shali Agarwal keep the meat in that fridge, But Srila Prabhupada use it because we have to see the broader picture. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada cooked for himself. Yeah. And then not for himself, of course, for Krishna. Because nobody cooks for him. But later on, when he gets few disciples, so he trained his disciple how to cook, then that's the business of the servant. and then he performed the marriage ceremony because nobody is performing it. But the purpose is that for spiritual advancement, for spiritual advancement. So sometimes don't take this as granted. Don't take this as granted. But I'm just saying, Mathurapati Prabhu is smiling here. Don't take this as a granted. Sometimes we can break certain rules in the scriptures, but for the higher purpose. Yeah, but for the higher purpose. For example, if entering the altar or the daily rooms have to be suchi, yeah, taking bath, wearing fresh clothes, perform full achamana. But for example, if something happened in the altar, like there's fire lighting up, so in order to save the lilies, you don't wait. Immediately jump in, enter the altar, and then take out the lilies in whatever situation you may be. Oh, don't think like this. Oh, I have to take bath first. I have to wear fresh clothes and then perform a chamana and then save the lilies. So not like that. So this is for higher purpose, and that's also we have to judge depending on the situation, urgent situation. So we can break the rules and regulation, but for the higher purpose. But don't take this statement as granted and don't quote me anywhere. Yeah. Yeah, here we see. There are 3 couples here that Srila Prabhupada performed their marriage ceremony, yeah, before giving them initiation. This is from the Surrender unto me. Are sannyas and tyaga the same or different? This is answering our first question. Yeah. Though something they are different, Krishna's opinion is that the renouncer of life and the renunciation of the fruits of work are in fact exactly the same. Indeed, Srila Prabhupada translates both words here as renunciation. So that's the answer. Is sannyas and tyaga, are sannyas and tyaga same or different? The answer is yes, they are the same. Yeah. Okay, we move ahead. Text number. Oh yeah, Nawadip Sachimataji, you raise your hand.
So,
Please.
I have a question on this. So, this sannyas, renunciate, and the tyagi, if they are one and the same, we are specifically talking about Vaishnava sannyasis or also sannyasis outside of the Vaishnava.
Yes, we are specifically talking about Vaishnava sannyasi. Yeah. Because the Mayavadi sannyasi, seemingly they renounce completely from the material world, but actually come back to the 4th chapter again. Action in inaction, and then inaction in action. So that verse is talking about the difference of Vaishnava sannyas and Mayavadi sannyas. Yeah, the Mayavadi sannyas, although seems to be very renounced, but still they incur the reaction of their activities. Yeah, because nobody is actually completely free from sinning while walking, while pouring water, while lighting up the fire, while sitting. How many entities are killed? Yeah, how many entities are killed? But for a Vaishnava, so those activities becomes nullified. The reaction becomes nullified. Why? Because everything is taken care by Krishna. So no reaction for devotees. Because Krishna is responsible for the devotee's life. But for the non-devotees, he has to be responsible for his own life. Yeah. Although seemingly that Mayavadi sannyas is very, very renounced. Yeah. But because there's no connection with Krishna, so still unknowingly he may perform sinning. Yeah. Even while breathing also. Have you realized how many entities are killed? In the air, there are so many small entities that unseen by our eyes. And when we breathe in, so they enter into our body and they die. Yeah? So yes, this Krishna's explanation is about the Vaishnava sannyasi. Yeah. Thank you for bringing up that point. Very nice. Srila Prabhupada. Oh, okay. Text number 8. Yeah. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. Purport. One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness, one should not desist out of fear or because such activities are considered troublesome. Yeah. So the duties of the grihasta is earning money, right? But one should not think foolishly that, oh, I'll give up these activities because this is material. If we see the pastime of Brahmananda Prabhu, yeah. So one time he approached Prabhupada, and Brahmananda Prabhu said that, Prabhupada, I want to become your student. And Prabhupada said, okay, no problem. And then he said, Prabhupada, I want to join the ashram as a full-time devotee. And Prabhupada said, but you just told me that you just started your work. So that time he was becoming a teacher in one of the colleges. And then Brahmananda said that no problem, I can give it up, and I want to join your ashram as a full-time student, as a full-time devotee. And Prabhupada said, no, right now we still need money. We really need money. So you work, and then you give your money to me. That's how Srila Prabhupada responded. No, so one should not think that, oh, money is Maya. It depends on how you use it. You know, prasanga mahajaram pasam atmana kavayo vidu saeva sadhu sukrito moksadvaram mahavitam. So for sadhu, money can give liberation. But for a non-devotee, money will give entitlement. The example that Srila Prabhupada used to give is just like yogurt and milk product. You know, yogurt is one of the milk product. And then if one drinks too much milk, sometimes one's stomach get disorder. So that milk, which cause disease, can be cured by yogurt. If you get diarrhea, just take yogurt. Best is hot rice and yogurt. You mix together and eat. That will cure your stomach disorder. So yogurt is the product of milk. But when you get stomach disorder because of the milk, you take yogurt, you get cured. So similarly, the material world, let's say money can cause you entangle, but also money can give you liberation, moksha dwara mapavritam, depending on how you use it. Another example is knife. You know, Srila Prabhupada said an expert doctor will use a knife to cut the belly of his patient to do the operation and cure the disease. But if you give the same knife to a drunkard, he also will cut the belly of a person and kill. So depending on how one did. So money is also like that. And one time, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, I think I told you this story. Yeah. Anyway, just remind all of us again. It's a nice pastime. He wrote a letter to Prabhupada. He was a Grihastha. Even now, he's still a Grihastha. He wrote a letter to Prabhupada expressing his desire to become a sannyas. And then, Prabhupada's servant received the letter and read the letter to Prabhupada. So there are many devotees who are recommended or who are expressing their desire to take sannyas. And Prabhupada said, okay, let him, this devotee can take sannyas. And then this devotee, yes, he can take. Then when his servant read Mahatma Prabhu's letter expressing that he want to take sannyas, Prabhupada said that write back to him, tell that he's a nonsense. Because Prabhupada knew that uh, Prabhupada is great, he is as good as Paramatma. Mahatma Prabhu said, Prabhupada knew that my intention to take sannyas is just to get rid of my wife. Because sannyas life is so nice, you get to travel all over the world, you preach, and you get a servant with you. You get all the time the Raja Bhoga offered in the temple, because you are a sannyas. All the Raja Bhoga is going to your plate. You travel free of cost, you preach so nicely, and there is servant also who will wash your cloth, who will cook for you. So Prabhupada knew his intention. That's why Prabhupada said, write back to him and tell that he's a nonsense. And since then, Mahatma Prabhu never asked for sannyas anymore. But of course, he's one of the great ISKCON gurus now in our movement. Although being a grihastha, we have quite few devotees, grihastha devotees who becomes guru. Yeah, one is like Vaiseshika Prabhu, is Grace Vaiseshika Prabhu. One is what is his name? Saunaka Rishi Prabhu, Shami Rishi Prabhu. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. Anyway, so one should not think that I want to take sannyas because one want to avoid the trouble in Grihastha ashram. Because while in the sannyas ashram, also trouble will come anyway. Yeah, don't think that there's no trouble in sannyas ashram. There's always trouble. Yeah, but the reason why we take sannyas because we want to advance in Krishna consciousness. We want to renounce the materialistic way of living and preach Krishna consciousness, of course. Not that because I had so much trouble, my wife giving so much pressure, so better to take sannyas. No, that's a wrong intention to take sannyas. That's why it is mentioned here that's in the mode of passion. Because you want comfort in your life. So that's the mode of passion. Yeah. Because immaturely taking sannyas is very dangerous. Immaturely taking sannyas is very dangerous. Text number 9. O Arjun, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it would be done and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. This is the proper way, proper mentality of taking sannyas. Yeah. Prescribed duties must be performed with this mentality. One should act without attachment for the result. One should be disassociated from the modes of work. A man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory, nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna, and when he gives up the result for Krishna, he is acting transcendental. Yeah, this is called transcendental. So this is the explanation of Tyaga. Yeah, remember this is about Tyaga. Yeah, one may work in a factory, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, but if he dedicates the result to Krishna, so although he communicates with the non-devotees in that company, so if he keeps his goal is, he works for Krishna, just like how Jayananda Prabhu, he was a taxi driver. He was a taxi driver, but he gives all his money to Prabhupada. Yeah. So he deals with the non-devotees, but he has this goal that he wants to give the money to Prabhupada. Then in that way, he's transcendental. But of course, in my level at least, in one of the cases, like it's hard to deal with this kind of situation. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he has a big dream that we have to have our own devotees community, because we are not in such a very elevated position that we associate with the non-devotees, and then finally we get their influence. Therefore, city life is very, very hard, very, very hard, especially when we work in a company where non-devotees are there. It's really hard. Therefore, the best way is, of course, to have our own devotee communities, and we live so simply based on agriculture and cow protection. This is one of the biggest dreams of Srila Prabhupada. I don't know, we don't know when this will manifest. It seems to be very, very hard, but quite few of our leaders are striving, trying to make this kind of community. I remember during the first hit of COVID-19, in Mayapur, His Holiness Japataka Maharaj said that it's time for us to be awake as community devotees. We have to use our land to produce our own bhoga for Radha Madhava, because we are getting the fruits, the vegetables, the flowers, the rice, from outside. We are buying potatoes from outside. And then when the COVID hit, so no travel, nothing. No travel, nothing. And then no supply also. Then Japataka Maharaj said, it's time for us to be awake. We have to produce our own food, our own bhoga for Radha Madhava at least, And then devotees start doing some gardening, start planting some tomatoes in their balcony. If we not voluntarily follow what the scripture says, Mother Nature will force us to follow it. But anyway, it's hard, but somehow or other we have to, do it. If we cannot do it big, so do it in a smaller scale. And there's one garden here in Mayapur. It's called Gauranga's Garden. Devotees started it in COVID, and that still continues till now. That's a good thing about COVID. Finally, we had at least small garden to produce some bhoga for our Radha Madhava. Yes, Prabhuji, you raise your hand. Almost said, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In these 9 verses, I think the one thing which resonates with chapter 9, we have a shloka, Yat Karosi Yadat Nasi. That kind of, that is what the theme which I sense here. Is that correct, Prabhuji?
Yes. So remember this section up to text number 12, it deals about karma yoga. It deals with karma, how we are utilizing karma in order to elevate ourselves. Yes, as I explained, the difference between 9.26 and 9.27. 9.26 is pure devotional service. It is bhakti. Patram puspam phalam toyam. Krishna demand that, and we act. Bhakti is we do according to what Krishna wants. But the next verse, 27, Yat Karosi Yat Asnasi, that is karma yoga. We do it because we want it, but in Krishna consciousness way. So the theme is here exactly karma yoga, because we are talking about activities, action here all the time. It's karma yoga. It is not karma kanda, by the way. It is karma yoga because we link it to Krishna. We link it to Krishna, although with the tinge of material desire. Okay, so far we have studied. I would like to ask, what is the difference between karma kanda and karma yoga?
It's like basically the pleasure for ourselves, that is a karma kanda. Getting something more materialistic or any spiritual this one also, but for the self benefit, not for the Krishna's benefit. That is a karma kanda, and karma yoga is to pleasure of the Krishna. That is karma yoga.
Okay, that's good answer. And then my next question is that if a person worship Krishna with material desire, expecting to get something, is that considered to be karma kanda or bhakti? Of course, we clear karma yoga means bhakti, okay? Because we link it to Krishna. But my question is now, if a devotee worship Krishna with material motivation, is that considered to be karma kanda or it is bhakti?
Uh, I
Okay,
think it is still considered as karma kanda.
Okay, you said still it is considered to be karma kanda. And
Karma
then here
kanda.
Bhajanath Prabhu mentioned that bhakti on the lower standard. Okay, that's good answer. Bhakti on the lower standard. Mixed bhakti, yes, mixed bhakti means karma mishra bhakti, which is correct. And then akama sarva kamo, yes, that's true. Akama sarva kamo moksha kamo dharati tivrena. Tivrena means vigorous, you know. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether you have material desire or no desire or desiring for liberation, Tivrena bhakti, perform bhakti to Krishna, ask Krishna. So it is mixed bhakti. Yeah. So now my next question is that what is the difference between karma kanda and bhakti? Although mixed bhakti, let's say mixed bhakti, here's the explanation. Karma kanda is you are worshipping a demigod. This is karma kanda. You are worshipping demigod. That's it. Karma kanda means demigod worship. But if you perform bhakti with a materialistic mentality, that is not karma kanda. That is still bhakti, but mixed. Yeah, karma mishra bhakti, but mixed. And that kind of bhakti, that kind of action is much more superior than the karma kanda. If you have material desire, worship Krishna and ask. Ask Krishna for that. Don't ask the demigod. Yeah? Don't go to the demigod. Just ask Krishna. Ask Krishna. Because Prabhupada explained that by continuously by continuously performing this kind of materialistic motivated bhakti, one will be purified by the due course of times, and then he will realize that, oh, all that I asked is nonsense. Now it's time for me to be serious. Yeah. So that's the difference. Karma kanda means demigod worship. That's it. But bhakti, even though it is mixed, still bhakti. Much more better. Yes, bro.
So Prabhuji, because I think nectar of devotion also it is mentioned that even liberation is not considered as a pure bhakti, right? Then means although it is a spiritual desire, truly speaking, but still it is for personal gratification. So how it can be considered as a bhakti? I'm a bit confused here.
Yes, it is bhakti, but not pure.
Okay.
It is not karma kanda. It is not karma kanda.
Okay.
It is bhakti. Karma kanda is demigod worship. That's it. Yeah. It is bhakti, but not pure enough. It's still mixed with the tinge of material desire, but it is bhakti. All this, for many years, I was confused that I thought that if I worship Krishna with material desire, that's karma kanda. That is not karma kanda. Karma kanda simply deals with the demigods. Yeah. And then we see the pastime, the gopis worshipping Katyayani, for example, and then some of the Brajavasis worshipping different demigods. Yeah, but if the intention is to get Krishna, that is not karma kanda. This is one thing. If you worship demigods to get Krishna, that is not karma kanda. That is bhakti. Yeah, because Krishna is involved there. Yeah, that is bhakti. What I want to say. Before I cough, I want to say something, but I forgot it. But anyway, that's the point. Bhakti is bhakti, although it is mixed. Bhakti is bhakti. And if you worship the demigods with the intention to get Krishna, that's also bhakti. Yeah. Oh, this is what I want to say. There's one devotee who was telling me recently. We see that the residents of Vrindavan, they don't worship Krishna. You know this? They don't worship Krishna. They worship other personalities. And then this devotee, he went for Govardhan Parikrama, and he met one Brajavasi who is worshipping Lord Rama, Sri Ram. He is a Ram Bhakta. And then this devotee asking this Brajavasi, you are Brajavasi, you live in Vrindavan. Why you don't worship Krishna? Everybody is worshipping Krishna, all over the world worshipping Krishna. But you Brajavasi, why you don't worship Krishna? Instead you worship Sri Ram. And then this Brajavasi said, you know, Krishna is our boy. Krishna is our family members. And we need God to worship. We need God to worship. And Ram is God. Krishna is not God. Ram is God. We need God to worship. Yeah. Krishna is our family members. So this has happened. Sometimes we find this kind of scene, you know, because of course, Ram and Krishna, they're not different, of course. But they said that Krishna is our family members and we need God to worship. Therefore, he worship Ram. Anyway, if Krishna is the center, that is bhakti. If Krishna is involved, that is bhakti. Even though you worship the demi. Yeah. But if you just
Thank
worship
you.
demi without involving Krishna, that's karma, completely karma. If you worship Krishna, you desire liberation, that is not pure bhakti, but still it is bhakti. Okay, just leave it right there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So now Krishna next describes the symptoms of proper renunciation. So this is the renunciation, the tyaga in the mode of goodness, which is very, very good. So now text number 10, the intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. Yeah. A person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. He does not work in the he does work in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. Such a person situated in the transcendence should be understood to be most intelligent and beyond all doubts in his activities. Okay. So being equipoised. Yeah. Being equipoised. Text 11. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruit of action is called one who has truly renounced. You see? What kind of work that we are doing is not really matter, but to give up the fruit for Krishna's pleasure is most important. Yeah, of course, at the same time, when I say not really matter, we have to use our intelligence. We should not perform the ugra karma types of activities. Okay. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruits the product result, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place. And whatever they earn, they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renowned order of life. Yeah, we see like in the life of His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu, yeah, His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Malati Mataji, who dedicatedly, preaching Krishna consciousness on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, they're grihastha, you know, dedicate everything to Krishna. So one time they don't have money to pay the rent of the storefront that they're using as the temple. So Shyama Sundar Prabhu just one time he walked early in the morning at 4 o'clock chanting his round on the street, and suddenly money just floating from the sky, coming down on the street. That happened where there's nobody awake at 4 o'clock in the morning. So if we have enough faith, to serve Krishna, a miracle may happen. So a real renouncer is a person who dedicates the fruits of his action fully to Krishna for Krishna satisfaction. Like devotees, sometimes they don't have money. One time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj narrates how they don't have money and then they have to go for work. Like for example, Vishnujan Maharaj, he used to sell flute. Some devotees selling painting. Some devotees selling painting to raise fund for the temple. And then one time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, with his team, distributed books. And then within short time, they earned 40,000 US dollar. 40,000 US dollar. And that's a lot of money those days. And even now also, 40,000 US dollar is so much money. And then he reported to Prabhupada. He wrote a letter to Prabhupada that he earned 40,000 US dollar within short time. And then Prabhupada said, in reply to that letter, Prabhupada said, you don't worry about money. You just do your service, Krishna will send money. If Krishna wants, he can give you the whole USA. But the question is that now, how you will utilize it. So Prabhupada said. So don't worry about money, you do your service, Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. If Krishna wants, he can give you the whole USA, Prabhupada said. But the question now is that how you will utilize it. Okay, text number 12. This is the last verse of our today's class. Yeah. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, occur after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of his acts after death. Yeah. Prabhupada said, so unless you, from the very beginning, you practice yajna, or if you are a grihastha, give in charity, when you take sannyas, you undergo tapasya, how will you understand this philosophy? It is not possible. In the Kali Yuga, however, this is yagya, just mistyping, this yagya is not possible, as there are ritualistic yagya sacrifice as recommended in the Vedas. That is not possible. It is very expensive. You have to acquire so much ghee and grains and so many other things, feed so many daily people. Yeah, it is very difficult task to perform the ritualistic yagya. Therefore, Krishna has made it easy, has made easy. What is that? Yagya Sankirtana Praya Yajamhi Smeda. So that's about yagya, sacrifice. Yeah. So just to conclude our today's session, that Arjuna is asking the difference of sannyas and tyaga. Ultimately, it is actually the same because we are aiming toward the same goal, renouncing materialistic activities or renouncing the fruit of our activities for the pleasure of the Lord. They are both the same. And the three levels of mentality of taking up renouncer of life is also described here. Yeah. So we have to, for the Prabhus, for those of you who has planned to take Vanaprastha and ultimately sannyas. This is very painful for the wife actually. You have to have a proper mentality before renouncing everything. Yeah. For example, like you have to have grown-up son who will be taking care of your wife. Then you can quit the Grihastha ashram, or son-in-law if you don't have son-in-law. Therefore, Grihastha means you have to have always children, or at least a child. Yeah. Many devotees, I'm very disappointed with this argument actually. Uh, some married devotees say that I don't need child, I don't need children. Why I need trouble? Seeing children to be trouble is a big mistake. If you don't want children, why then you get married? It's just for fantasy. No, that's not recommended. Yeah. See the children as special souls sent by Krishna and serve them. So taking care of children is a big service. Yeah, a big service, because you are also preaching in that way, expanding the movement in that way. Yeah. So if you want to take Vanaprastha, wait for the time when you're supposed to take it. Of course, scripture said that Pancha Udva Vanam Raja. Once you reach 50, you have to plan immediately to take Vanaprastha. But you have to make sure that somebody will take care of your wife properly. Yeah. Of course, two levels of Vanaprastha. One is one still traveling together with the wife, and one is completely separated from the wife. Yeah. Can take it either way. And then regarding yagya, of course, Srila Prabhupada mentioned about yagya, sacrifice. Yagya is supposed to be done in a grand way. Yeah. Gokoti danam grahana kagasya prayaga ganga dakuka pavasam yagya yutam meru swarnadhan. Yeah. When you perform yagya, you have to invite the Brahmana and then give donation to that Brahmana in the form of yagya meru swarnadhana. Swarnadhana, give so much gold as big as Meru mountain for one Brahmana to please the Brahmana. Yeah. We see also how Yudhishthira Maharaj, while he was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice, so he was inviting thousands of Brahmanas, yeah, and feeding them with the gold plate. And then after taking the prasadam, the Brahmana can take the gold home. Yeah, that plate. That's how we should perform yagya. Yeah. But again, Govinda Kirtai na samam satam sair. But in this age, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, yagya sankirtana prayay. The yagya is the chanting of the holy names. And then Govinda Kirtaya na samam satam sair. The chanting of the names of Krishna, of Govinda, is actually much more higher than performing this kind of yagya. Therefore, any yagya, especially in ISKCON, any yagya performed should be accompanied by kirtan, nam sankirtan. Yeah, without that, because nowadays there are a lot of defects. Yeah. Desa kalar hawas sarvam karoti nischidram. So sarvam karoti nischidram. There are a lot of defects. But anu sankirtanam tava. the Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names, is actually perfecting that yajna. But of course, the priest will chant the prayers of mantra hinam, kriya hinam, bhakti hinam, janardana, asking for apology. Whatever mistake I have done, please forgive us while performing the yajna. Maybe some spelling mistake, because while performing this yajna, if the swara, while chanting the mantra is different, then the meaning will be different, and then the result also will be different. Yeah, so that's how complicated it is, but that can be perfected by the chanting of the holy names. Of course, in our Vaishnava tradition, we are performing yajna just to please the Lord. But we see the pastimes in the sixth canto when what is his name? Twasta, he has a son by the name of Vishwarup. Vishwarup has 3 heads. Of course, Vishwarup is appointed as the priest for the demigods. This is another pastime. I said I'm going to conclude this section, but end up with pastime. Anyway, we have 14 minutes left. So when Indra offended his guru, I'm sorry for this. Indra offended his guru, Brihaspati. So his guru left. Now the demigod has no strength because has no guru. Nobody performed sacrifice for the demigod because demigod's power comes through sacrifice. Nobody performed sacrifice for the demigods. So the demon attacking and demigods got conquered. So now Indra appointed Vishwarup to become the priest. Vishwarup has 3 heads because Vishwarup and then the son of Twasta. Twasta is a demigod, of course. And then, but Vishwarup's mother is from the demon side. See, so Vishwarup is mixed between demigod and the demon. So secretly, Vishwarup, while performing the yajna, he also offered the result of the yajna for the demon side. And then Indra noticed this. And then immediately Indra chopped off the head of his own priest. Vishwarup's head was chopped off his head. And then Twasta became very upset. Which father will not angry when his son is killed? And then what is his name? Twasta, he became very upset to Indra, and then he performed a yajna that he wanted to create a demon which will be the killer of Indra. But because while chanting the mantra, he chanted the swara improperly, so instead this demon who killed Indra. So the meaning will be, I create this demon who will be killed by Indra. And that's how Britasura appeared. Yeah. Anyway, the whole pastime is like, who was Britasura? He was king, what is his name?
Chitraketu.
Yeah, Chitraketu. Yeah, King Chitraketu in his previous life got cursed by Parvati because he laughed at Lord Shiva. The whole pastime is big, so I don't want to get too much into it. But that's the thing, when you perform yajna, and then when you chant the mantra, the swara is different, or even the chanda is different. Chanda is how the tone, how you chant the mantra. So that's different. So the meaning also will become different. Yeah, but everything is perfected by the Sankirtan. Yagya Sankirtana Prayari Chanti Sumedasa. So conclusion is again about karma yoga. Yeah, everything, the result of our activities should be performed for pleasing the Lord. Yeah, and then next class we'll be discussing about the dhyana aspect, and then the 5 factors of action, and we'll discuss about the varnashram a little bit, yeah, following one's prescribed duties, and then about the Brahma Buddha platform, pure devotional service, and ultimately the glories of studying and preaching the Bhagavad Gita we will see at the end Arjuna's realization and also Sanjaya's realization. He will conclude the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. All right.
Next class will be on Wednesday, Prabhu.
Sorry.
Will the next class be on Wednesday, Prabhuji?
I don't know.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji?
We'll have a class on Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Wednesday we'll have the class. Yeah. Hopefully that will be final, and my duty will be accomplished. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.